Hello. Today I'll explain how to create your own store or restaurant in the 7LOG system and how to edit it. To start, let's go to admin.7log.com, then log in or create a new account. I'm already logged in, so I'll just enter my username and password. Here, you can immediately select and edit your profile or create a new one. Let's create a new one. I'll click Add New Profile. I'm a business owner, so I'll select that. Next, you enter your business name. Mine will be Cafe Bistro. Then choose your country. I'll pick Poland. For language, let's say English. Then select your zone. For me, it's Europe, Warsaw. Finally, I'll click Approve and create my account. Moving on, you can either use a 7LOG subdomain, like writing Cafe Bistro, or create your own custom domain. If you choose your own, you'll need to register it with your domain registrar and set up the IP address. Now, let's create a domain based on the 7LOG subdomain. We'll call it Cafe Bistro and click Next. Now let's upload the logo. I've prepared it in advance. We'll insert it and click Save. Next, we need to click Select to create our point. Click Create, choose the currency and write the name. Then click Next. Moving on, we need to create categories. We can do this either now while setting up our account or later in the administration system. Let's create the first category here. We'll call it Food. You can also add subcategories if needed. For example, under Food, we might have subcategories like Snacks, Main Dishes, and so on. We can make them into categories. Create subcategories. Click Next. Select and create. Let's add another category and call it Drinks. Click Next. Select our restaurant and click Create. Great. We've now created our categories. Let's click Next and move on to creating products. For the code, we'll use an arbitrary one. This code will help you find your products more easily later. I'll just put in a single digit. Now, let's select the product type. We have options for regular products, digital products, gifts, and services. In my case, I'll choose regular products. Now let's enter the name. Let's use Pizza Carbonara as the name, for example. Now, let's set its price. Let's say 40 zlotys. Next, we need to add a description. I've prepared one in advance, so I'll just paste it in and click Create. Now we need to add a product photo. I'll choose this one, for example. You can resize the photo if needed. I'll keep it at this size. Now I'll click Save. Next, we need to choose which category it belongs to. Let's put it in the food category, for instance. I'll click Save, and then we'll go back to the list. After that, we'll create the profile. Great, we've successfully created our profile. To start, we need to edit our restaurant's data. We have a cafe called Bistro, so let's go to the store settings. For example, we need to add a description of our restaurant. I've prepared this in advance, so I'll just paste it here. Next, I need to choose a logo. In the first version, we used the company logo, but here we'll use the restaurant's logo specifically. Click Save after selecting it. For the map to display on your website, you need to input the longitude and latitude. To find these, go to Google Maps and enter your address. For instance, my address is New Holiday Street 22. Type this into the Google Maps search bar. At the top of your browser, you'll see a string of numbers. Copy these and paste them in. The first set of numbers, up to the comma, is the latitude. Enter that here. Then input the longitude and click Save. Next, let's move on to banners. You can add several banners, which will, for the carousel on your website, name the banner. For example, I'll have a main banner. If you need to add a link, then you insert the banner itself. You can edit it here. There's an editor. I recommend using a banner that's about 1300 pixels by 500. It'll look perfect on your site. Click Save, then let's move on to the information section. In the information section, fill in the address. Well, phone number, Wi-Fi details. In my case, for example, I'll have REST 123 there. Now, let's go to the work schedule settings. Click on it. For instance, we might work from 9 a.m. to, say, 11 p.m. Or we can specify different hours for different days. For example, on Monday, we might work from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. On another day, let's say Sunday, we'll have a day off. Then click Save. All right, we filled in all the basic information. Now we can go to the site, access the profile, and here you can see how our site looks. There's our banner, there are our categories, so we've filled in the information, but there are no products showing up. We also have our map, but again, no products are visible. When you create a product and it doesn't appear, you need to go to the Products section, open it up, and check if it's linked to the store. You'll need to click right here. Click on Cafe Bistro and save. When we refresh, we can see that our product has been created. Now, let's start from the beginning. We have categories. You can go to the Categories section and create new categories for yourself. It's all very straightforward. Just go in, create them, and you can sort them right here on the spot. You can create categories, subcategories, and so on. Now let's move on to the products. We can edit existing products. So let's open one up. Here we have pizza carbonara with its description and so on. We can also add some photos or even a video. I'll show you how this is displayed on our test site. You can add both photos and videos. Let's add some photos. We'll add another pizza, for example, and save it. We can add lots of photos and videos here. We also have our add-ons, which aren't created yet, as well as categories to edit and characteristics. Let's start with what add-ons are. Add-ons are extra items that we can add to our products. What could these be? For example, we can add cheese to a pizza. Let's go to the add-ons section. And here we create, for instance, editors. Next, we have minimum and maximum settings for how many of a specific category of add-ons can be ordered for one product. For example, I can set a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 3. I'll set it to 3 and click Save. Now I need to create these add-ons. I go in, click Create an add-on, and specify that I have, for example, a cheese add-on. I indicate its code and specify that if a customer wants to add extra cheese, it can be free or paid. For instance, it might cost 5 zlotys. I save that and let's add another one, like ketchup with code 2, for example, and we have it for 1 zloty to create. Now, when we move on to our product, we can mark these pizza add-ons. We save it and let's see how it looks. We refresh the page, open it, and see that we've added the add-ons. We can now add ketchup and cheese, and the price will adjust accordingly. Now, what about characteristics? Characteristics are features you might have. For example, a product could be vegan, contain eggs, and so on. For instance, I'll set it as vegan, or we can create and save non-vegan items as well. For example, we have a characteristic for eggs. We click Save, and when we go to our product, we can note in the characteristics that it contains eggs and is not vegan. So we have eggs here and it's not vegan. Let's click Save and see how it's displayed. When we go to our product details, we can see that it contains eggs and is not vegan. Let's move on. We can also have product groups. What are these groups? Product groups are combined products in one category. To create this, we need to make several products. By the way, we have a function that allows us to copy a product instantly. I'll click here to copy and assign a different code, like code 2, for example. I keep clicking next, 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 and then I create it. It's immediately very easy and simple. Now, when we go into our product groups, we create our group, and that's what we'll have. For pizza carbonara, we now need to create a modifier. The modifier we'll have is, for example, size, the pizza size. We add a modifier and call it size. Now we select the product, choose the size, and specify the size we have, for example, small. Then we add the next one, indicate the option, and click Save. It's also necessary when creating modifiers to show one modifier. We save and update. Now when we go in, we have a small pizza and a large pizza. We have 30 small pizzas and 40 large ones. And this is how the grouping of products happens. We've completely sorted everything out. Now, let's figure out how to handle our goods and set up our store. Let's go into the settings and first adjust the delivery options. We have different delivery methods available, including in-store pickup and home delivery. We can edit each type of delivery and add new ones, like the option for tips. We can also set up delivery zones. For example, let's add a zone where delivery is free within a certain radius. Then we can add another zone with a larger radius where delivery will be charged, say, 10 zlotys. We can keep adding and adjusting these settings as needed. All aspects of deliveries can be included, as I mentioned earlier. You can include tips as well. Now, let's move on to setting up our store, specifically the colors. We can create a dark theme, save it, and see how it looks. For example, it'll look like this. Let's switch back to the light theme. Here, we can edit our colors. For instance, I want a color that's approximately like this. I'll click Save, Update, and we can see that we now have a red color. Here we can customize how our store will look. For example, we can set the number of categories, how many products appear on one page, whether it's displayed as a list or a grid, and so on. This is where you fully customize the visual aspect of your store. Now, regarding access, to give someone permissions, you go to the Access section and create, for example, a user. You enter their email here and specify their role, such as administrator or editor. In our case, it's an administrator. You can also set an expiration date for their access. After clicking Save, we move on to the general settings. Here's what we have. First, we can change the domain, name, time zone, and authorization method. You can choose what type of authorization you'll use. Will it be through messengers, Apple, Google, or email? And so on. You make your choices, then we move to language settings, where you can add a new language. For instance, I want to add Ukrainian alongside English. I click Save, and when I refresh here, my data updates and the languages are added. Besides Ukrainian, we support many other languages as well. Next, you can go to the additional settings, where we have two functions. First is to pay with a friend. If you have a messenger, a payment function is added where you can send a message and a friend can pay. There's also an artificial intelligence feature. Click Save. Then we have something called a bot, which you can customize. You choose the one you want. For example, if I want to connect Telegram, you insert the token here that you get from the Telegram system. Usually it's created in the Botfather bot. You copy the token from there and paste it here. The same goes for WhatsApp. Now let's move on to the QR menu. To create a QR menu for a table, you need to click Add QR Menu and specify, for example, table number 1 for our Cafe Bistro. Click Save, then go to the table itself and select QR codes. We need to create a specific QR code. We can adjust settings, including some advanced options like inserting a picture, writing text, changing colors, and so on. Everything here is customizable. Click Add, and we now have a QR menu. As you can see, we can download it in PNG or PDF format and send it to print. That's it. That's all the functionality. Thank you for your attention.